I have 2 of the cots.
Oh, yeah. This is one of those compulsory letters home, and a former camper gave it to us. And I went to summer camp, Girl Scout camp once, and I had to write a letter home. So this looks, I'm sure anyone who went to Great Oaks had to write one of these. I'm just so pleased that he was willing for us to project that. So.
Dear Mom and Dad, I am fine, right? Something on the order.
How are you? Exactly. And there's not much news, but
I'm getting ready to be a waiter, and the head waiter's calling me. I gotta go.
Okay, and these are kind of pictures. They're not in any particular order. They're taken from the yearbooks. We can recognize a couple of people in them. A lot of these photographs, they're big glossy photographs, came from the Pico family, from Gordon Pico and his children gave a lot of these to us. So
That is Gordon in the front middle, right? With the white t-shirt?
Yeah.
And Bob Devine over on the far left back. Second one from the end.
Callie tells me
Jim maybe knows more people there, Wise Carver.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I have some other pictures up on display with them.
Okay, here are the counselors. I don't think they always, I think this is an early picture. They're wearing breeches and neckties. And I don't think that lasted the whole time. But they look pretty spiffy, don't they? Okay, the camp started with children. You had to be 8 to go there. Except for Gordon Pico, who was only 4. He was allowed to go to the camp because his mother was working in the kitchen and his father was working maintaining ground, and they had no place to put him, so he was fine. So these are the pictures. And these are undated. I don't know what level these are, but they're looking as though they're having a good time.
There again, I think those are earlier outfits. Eventually went to the green t-shirts and
Again, a lot of these kids knew each other before they came to the camp. A lot of the tours came from the school in New York City, Collegiate Institute, a collegiate school, where Joe Becker was either director or assistant director. Okay. Right, and your husband was also Richard Driscoll. He was at St. David's. Another prep school. So the kids, many of them came from those schools, or some of them did, so they knew each other. And I asked Frank Walker, well, didn't you get homesick? You're coming out. He was the only child, and he said, no, my parents were glad to get rid of me. And I said, well, you didn't get home? And he said, I had a wonderful time.
he said he was glad to wave goodbye as they went on the radio road.
Okay, here are the kids, the Baptist church, and the kids who are Baptist, most of them not Baptist, filing in and out of the church. Everyone went to the church in that time remembers that.
Yes, everyone had to go.
Yeah.
I can remember even as recent as 1975-ish, as a teenager in that church, they were still bringing boys to the East Otisfield Free Baptist Church. So that happened right up almost to the end of, because like I said, I remember in the mid-70s, they were still bringing kids to church on Sunday in the summer.
Denise is speaking as the present pastor of the East Otisfield Free Baptist Church. Of course, yes. All right. And then I tried to make a list of all the sports and activities, and I read this past, they're pretty much the same ones you have at most summer camp. I ran this past Frank Waddell, who was over at my house last week. He said he didn't remember any wrestling and boxing. And I said, well, I have some pictures in those years. Do you remember wrestling and boxing? No. Does anyone remember wrestling and boxing? No. All right, well, we can cross that one off.
That might have been earlier, though.
at least for Otisfield. Okay,
There
and
was also archery, and there was also water skiing.
Oh, that's right. Archery and water.
we got archery, I got archery. I don't have archery there. They did have archery?
And water
I asked
skiing.
Frank and he didn't remember archery, so,
Well, it may not have.
you know, it may have been a different time.
Right, arts and crafts, and library.
Okay, that seems to be a pretty, there are only about 125 kids there, if I remember. I think that was the average. Okay. One of the things that struck me in the yearbooks was that they had a blacksmith, they imported a blacksmith, they did have riding at the camp. And so the boys learned how to put a horseshoe on a horse. At least they supposedly learned how to do it. I thought that was pretty ambitious. And the big barn, we didn't have to show any pictures of the big barn at Great Oaks, but I think that was where a lot of these activities like that took place. Also, they had a woodworking, a lot of woodworking. Right around that, yeah. Okay, and then this is building a hut in the woods, and Frank had a wonderful story about that, but he's not here.
He was supposed to be here tonight.
No, I couldn't be here. We were very sorry because he had a long career at Great Oaks. And I think he never left Otisfield, so he's still here. Horseback riding, you can see.
Betty Goss is here, and her husband Harry took care of the
Is that right? He took care of
equestrian string
Oh,
for quite a number of years.
Betty's husband.
Yeah. Brought me my first horse, he rode, because they couldn't stay there in town except the summer because there was no one there. So some of them went to your barn on Pico Hill, and then Harry would place horses that he thought would work with kids in local families. And I had been begging for a horse for years, and my dad said we could afford a dairy cow, but not a horse. So Harry rode my horse over. It was Dan, if you remember Dan. And Judy Bean here in town also had one named Dapper Dan, a buckskin. And Judy and I put on the miles. We had a good time.
exercise.
Yes, and Harry taught us what we were supposed to do, and my dad knew. It's fun.
Campfire Circle was once a week, I believe, and one of those kind of experiences no one ever forgets after going to summer camp. I don't know if they sang around the camp.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Probably they did sing, yeah. All right,
All
and
kinds
then,
of things went on down.
Supposedly that campfire is behind our meeting.
It is. It is.
A lot of our house.
It is. Yeah.
It's round, it's got stones.
Do you use it? Not yet, not yet. It's kind of wet all around it.
there were, I think, it seemed to me that the Great Oaks had more trips of one kind or another. Old Orchard Beach was a favorite, and apparently the campers earn points that they can convert into money. Didn't Frank say something about that? If they did very well or did extra work around the place, they would get some sort of a check to that.
Do you remember that?
So that they could spend it
So
over
like,
at the
in my
beach.
day, you had two ways to earn
Okay.
trips to the movies or to the beach.
That was a day trip, right?
Yeah.
Should have said that.
You could, if you were a waiter, and you used to wait every third day, and once you waited 9 times, you could earn a trip to the movies or the beach, depending how old you were. And then you also we had inspection every morning in the cabins, and the cabins that did the best on inspection each week got to go to the movies.
How long do you get this camp?
Well, I was born into it.
Okay, and you can see there were a lot of overnight canoe trips, really long ones, Rangeley Lakes, Chain of Ponds at Major Lake State Park, hiking up Mount Washington in Katahdin. I didn't hear about any other mountains. There probably were some. I don't see
take, as I remember, rather ambitious trip up into Quebec.
Oh, we're getting there.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
Oh, okay.
There we are. And everything is, Frank said he did not go on that. He went on, he led a lot of these trips. He did not lead that, he did not go on that. And I said, well, what did you do? Did you up there? What did you do? He said, we just went. So that was an experience though for teenage kids. Okay, and this is the end of the camp, physically. It actually closed in 1980, I haven't got it exactly, 84 or 85. And then the property was sold, the Driscoll sold the property to outsiders, and there was some problems over maintenance, you can see, and kind of sad. It was what used to be a nice old barn. And this is 1998. I mean, I'm sure this has been painful for you, Jane, to see those buildings. They weren't your buildings anymore, but kind of painful. And these two, I think I took these pictures in 98 also. They look pretty much like, we were over there. Kelly and I drove in there, poked around last week. So they look pretty much the same. And this is the end, except for the fact that the Driscolls sold 40 acres, I believe, when the camp closed, to the town of Otisfield. I think I have this right. And the town added another 40 acres. And it is now the Two Ponds Nature Area, and it's very nice hiking in there. If you have not done it, it connects Saturday Pond and Moose Pond. Very nice hiking trail, about 2 miles long. And if you haven't done it, you should. And that is pretty much the end. I want to give thanks to all these people, and I also wish to thank Tim Weisskart, who brought me a picture. And this is pretty neat what he's done with this. So that's the end. And everybody.
We want to see if we can get a little more information for the group from those of you who were there. And how about the people who were here who were actually campers? No one for sure. Tim Weisskart. Where's Tim? There you are.
I was a counselor, I wasn't a camper.
Were you ever a camper?
No,
No?
I never was, but it was a great experience that changed my life. I think I became a teacher as a result of going there, and I have the fondest memories of the people at Great Oaks Camp. They're really wonderful people. Gina, it's nice to see you.
Where were you?
I was there from 1961 to 1966. My brother later was there as a counselor for 2 years. One thing I remember about Patrick was he was very unusual because he was the youngest person ever to be in camp. I think he started when he was 3, so I remember that. Everybody's a little worried, you know. He was so young. Was he? Like he around years ago.
Did you move right into a cabin?
I actually, my first year in a cabin was 1962. I was 5.
Yeah.
But before that, I took swimming lessons. And the old story goes is that I couldn't remember. We used to have, when the kids arrived at camp, we assigned everybody a swimming number so we could count off, make sure you didn't lose anybody, whether you were on trips or. We started every meal, every camper counted off, so we would make sure everybody was there. And then in the middle of swims, when we had a general swim, a recreational swim in the afternoon, they stopped in the middle of the swim and had everybody count off and make sure everybody was still floating. So the number they gave me was 4 for those swims, but I could never remember my number, so I always had to run back over to my mom and ask her what my number was.
You have to go all the way over to the ladies' dock.
But I was a camper from 1962 and then became a counselor, and my last summer was the summer of '78. So I graduated from college in the summer of '79, so I was there as, all summer long in the cabins from '62 through '78.
Who else is here that was hanging, Karen, you were Lynn. I guess you were
Lynn's my sister.
Oh, you were there all the time, growing up there too, and you got involved in activities at least. You probably didn't sleep with the boys in the cabin.
We certainly did
No.
not. But as we got to be teenagers, we sort of got jobs and we were gophers. You know, go for this in town, go for that. So we did a lot of driving around, picking things up. We had a special dock called the ladies' dock, so that we didn't swim with the boys, but we were on the dock down the other end, the lake the dock that's still there now that we use. That was the ladies' dock, so every afternoon usually we would go down there and watch what was going on at the other dock. And then I went to girls' camp for 5 summers.
Where did you go?
I went to, it was called Mudgee Key, was over in Center Level. And I missed being at Great Oaks the whole time I was there. I mean, I enjoyed it, but I really missed being at Great Oaks.
Anybody else? You got
Yes.
counselors?
So I'm Ellen Nataliadis, so I wrote a little segment in the say